The world is hungry. 1/3 of the world population is food insecure. 2/3 in Africa. 3 billion of the world population cannot access healthy diets. Mothers cooking stones for their children is not a tale. It's a lived reality in Kenya. The current food systems have failed to feed the world with dignity. Food has been so commodified that it has become a reserve of only those who can afford it, those who have money. It's time for a paradigm shift. We need to decommodify food. We need to recommodify food. We need to reconceptualize food as a basic human right, a common good, and a public good. We need resilient food systems.
Resilience is a powerful word. Perhaps you may not know you're being resilient or only realize it afterwards. So let me ask you this question and frame it in the food lens. In these types of change, if we don't improve, then what is there left? Take a moment to answer and reflect on this question, and please pass it on to your families, friends, and colleagues. Once you get that answer, I'm sure you'll be resilient on the basis of food and for its whole systems transformation. Thank you.
The COVID-19 pandemic is a tragic reminder that a disaster in one sector can have long-lasting impacts on food systems. We need to do a better job of understanding disaster risks before disasters strike. We need to recognize that climate and non-climate risks, such as pandemics or conflict, are interconnected. And that's why we need multi-hazard, multi-sector strategies, comprehensive disaster and climate risk management. We need greater investments in anticipatory action and early warning. And finally, we need to make sure that those that are most at risk have a strong voice in global, national, and local efforts to build food systems resilience.
To turn the ambition of resilience into reality, we must learn from indigenous peoples, but also support them. They are game changers themselves. They have shown us through centuries that they have adapted to different stresses and changing conditions. For example, nowadays, they keep the 80% of the world's biodiversity in less than the 25% of the world's land. Yet, they are constantly suffering forced displacement, discrimination, and racism. If we want to ensure that the world is resilient, we need to guarantee that the rights to lands are respected, that the rights to self-determination too, but also that they have a saying at policy level in processes that affect the whole world.
Resilience means creating equitable and just food systems for the most vulnerable, adapting to our changing climate, and strengthening the role ethics plays in our decision-making systems to ensure no one is left behind. In order to be resilient, we must recognize our deep interconnectedness with each other and shift away from extractive relationships we hold with both people and planet, towards one that cares for all sentient beings within our food systems. Food must also be understood not just as a commodity, but as a sacred, universal human right. Let us come together to coexist with nature, heal our planet, and empower one another to have access to healthier, plant-rich, climate-resilient food choices.
It is not a question if we are in an emergency, be it a climate emergency, biodiversity, pollution. Nor is it a question if we're at a tipping point, or if we have the right innovations, or if there's public acceptance and readiness. We're past that. We're at a stage where there's a need for a swift shift from ideological discussions towards economic modules that can provide jobs, that provide opportunities that advance social equity within planetary boundaries. Change, radical change, is needed at all levels, and it starts with us. I believe it starts with individual actions. We have to do changes at all levels of our lives. We have to take tough decisions to be more vocal. But also in creating the enabling environment, there should be universal access to trusted data and information in comprehensible manner that everyone can relate to, be it on the challenges, be it on the need, be it on the individual responsibilities. The path ahead is not easy, but it is still doable.
We urgently need to build the resilience of agri-food system. If we don't do this, hunger will continue to rise, sufferance will continue to increase, and it's going to be unbearable. It's already unbearable the way it is now for many people on this planet. We urgently to have a common language, a common understanding on the importance of resilience, which is linked to risk management, multiple risk management. All these risks and shocks and stresses are colliding and affecting and threatening people, economies, health and well-being overall. We plea you all, take part in resilience building of our agri-food system.
Turning resilience, ambition into reality. Of course, we need to harness the power of young people, because young people actually form 18% of the global population, and young youth below 24 years old form 40% of the global population. So empowering young people, giving them this opportunity, giving them a seat at the table, actually ensure that we have the policy framework which is inclusive, we have a policy framework which is transparent, we have a policy framework which is actually comprehensive and equally youth-friendly. We want to thank you. We want to glorify, we want to thank you and actually give this opportunity, take this opportunity at the golden spoon to ensure that all the food system dialogue, independent dialogues that we organize here locally, regionally and globally shall actually be included into the summit process.